Okay, hello, good morning, good evening, whenever you tune into this. So at the time of recording, it is February 23rd, and it is Monday, and it is a little bit early. It's not even 9 a.m. And also, there's fucking snow everywhere. Look at that fucking shit. It's fucking almost March, and there's still fucking snow. This is hell. Hell has frozen over. Also, once again, I'm recording this on February 23rd. By the time you see this, it'll be like early June. So you technically are a time traveler. How does it feel? Does it feel good? Does it feel bad? Do you feel queasy? How do you feel after this experience? So I slept last night in the bathroom, which I haven't done in a while. And I do think it was much needed. Because when I tell you that if I sleep on the couch like I'm supposed to, I am subject to being interrupted in so many different, like, inconsiderate ways. And so I do hold myself in to the bathroom to try to minimize that. You know what I'm saying? Got some nice sleep. I don't remember what I was dreaming about, but I do remember having dreams. So that was a thing. Also, I think I'm doing really good at, like, consistency. I posted this thing, I wrote this thing. It's kind of vague. It's not pointed towards anybody. It's not directed towards anybody, but it is very pointed, I guess. Because it was basically talking about, like, people who don't have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, trying to dominate other people who do have the ability to see and hear, and, like, how you just gotta, like, just keep being you and, like, just don't take it personal, like, you know. Because it is really ridiculous to me how a person could... Never mind, I'm not gonna go It is so cold today, this morning, but I really did need to get out of the house, because I don't know. And I think a lot of people, because logistically you'd believe that, like, if you're not, oh my gosh, this wind, if you're not actively interacting and engaging with somebody, then you wouldn't have to worry about that energy exchange. But really, just simply being around somebody, just being cognizant of somebody, just being aware that somebody exists near you can also impact you. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're more sensitive. Like, you don't need to talk to somebody to be affected by them. You don't need to, you know what I mean? Literally, all you have to do is, like, think about them, and that'll affect your energy, you know? I do wish that as a society, we could just, like, grow the fuck up, you know what I mean? And maybe that's not the goal, maybe that's not what we're meant to do here, maybe, you know, the foolishness is part of the experience. I don't know, I just hate the idea of, like, so many people being, like, led astray and, like, being, like, brainwashed just because, how do I say this? Because certain people don't want to, like, have to, like, be accountable for their actions or, like, be responsible, you know? And when I say that, I mean, like, because, okay, how do I say this? I'm sorry, I feel like this video is kind of all over the place, so if you're still watching, I appreciate you. If you end up watching to the end, thank you so much, you're amazing. When I was growing up, I was forced into a lot of extracurricular activities, me and my siblings, and one of them was a leadership program. And though I was not the biggest fan of having to go, I do appreciate the things that I learned from it, you know what I'm saying? And I think, honestly, a lot of the things that I learned in there are very valuable, but, like, a lot of people who are actually in leadership positions don't use those skills or tips or tricks or whatever. Like, I think it's pretty common understanding in this day and age that if you want to be a good leader, you do have to have some sort of empathy, you do have to have some sort of, like, care and concern for the people that you're leading over, you know? And it's unfortunate, but a lot of people get managerial positions, get leadership positions, and they couldn't give a single flying fuck about how they're affecting other people. And I think those are the last people that should be in positions of power. Like, the fuck? Like, because I think everybody gets it backwards. The point of being a leader is so that you can help people get to where they need to go. It's not so that you can feel good about yourself. It's not so that you can be on this pedal. It's so that you can help other people to get to where they need to go. And, like, that's the part that a lot of people miss. It's like, it's not about you, Mr. King, sir. It's about the people that you're leading, you know? And I think it's so interesting because a lot of discourse that I've been seeing is like the male loneliness epidemic, and a big response to it is a lot of women, a lot of people being like, well, yeah, duh, you're gonna be lonely because you're not like trying to connect with people, you're not actually trying to, like, you know what I mean? For the most part, a lot of you are just kind of trying to dominate, trying to be in control, trying to feel some sort of power, which is fine, but like, be honest with yourself about it. Don't say you're looking for love. You're not looking for love, you're looking for control, you know? And honestly, to be a little transparent, even when I look to my boyfriend, who we have an open relationship, it's not super exclusive, but when I look to him and how he interacts with other people, I'm like, of course, like, it makes sense, you know what I mean? Like, you don't try to engage with people, you just kind of have surface level, like, of course you feel lonely because you're not actually connecting with anybody, you're just kind of doing the bare minimum. And that's no tea, no shade, but it is what it is. Like, in order for you to get better, you have to recognize that there are things to improve, you know what I mean? And I think for a lot of men, communication is a weak point. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of outliers, people who do have good, but like, most men are not taught to communicate properly. And it's unfortunate. I think society has majorly failed men, but it's also partially because of the patriarchy. It's because of the way that we treat women. You know what I mean? Like, I think recently I have had to adopt the idea that, like, the genders are relatively equal. There's different weaknesses and strengths. But, like, once again, women biologically have children. Like, there's no way around that. And science today can even make that happen without a man. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So for anybody without the ability to like birth a child out of their body, like, anybody who isn't able to do that, I don't understand how you could ever think that you should be in control, that you, like, what? And there was this one person who was saying, sorry about the wind, who was saying basically that the reason why a lot of men are feeling lonely is because, like, men are designed to, like, help women and be supportive towards women, but, like, a lot of men have spent their entire lives doing the opposite, being abusive, being negligent, just being terrible towards the other gender. And so, like, of course you're fucking lonely, of course you're depressed, because, like, why the fuck are you treating people that way? Why are you know what I mean? Like, make it make sense. Like, we could call it karma. I'm gonna call it karma just to be a little bit simplified, but it's karma. It's like, you get what you give. And, like, a lot of men on this planet are fucking terrible, are evil. And maybe they don't mean to be evil, but it's like, through your actions, you're evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, or let me say this, even through your inactions, you know, because everybody likes to say, what did I do? Okay, it's also what you didn't do, what you kept being told about and you kept choosing not to do for whatever reason. Maybe it was fear, maybe it was uncertainty, I don't know, but you still chose not to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, be so fucking for real. Also, can I, real quick, since I've done enough, like, complaining and, like, bashing, I think we should talk about the nervous system again, because that's a big factor, like, from a psychological standpoint, why people would behave the way that they do, you know, because the nervous system is everything. The nervous system is how we receive information, how we interpret information, how we feel inclined to share information, you know. And if you're not regularly tending to your nervous system, like, to some degree, like, it's similar to what Carl Jung says, like, if you don't take care of your shadow, it's going to run your life and you're going to call it fate, because you don't recognize how much control you really do have over what happens to you, you know what I mean? And that's another funny element, like, so many people will, like, go out of their way to try to control other people, but then don't have any control of their own lives, you know? And I've noticed this so many fucking times with certain people, and it's so interesting because it's like you have so much influence over other people, you have so much power over other people, but you don't want to take that same energy and just face it towards yourself. You know what I mean? You want to point at everybody else's flaws, you want to complain about everybody else, but then when the finger's pointed back at you, it's like, what are we talking about? Confusion? No. Like, be so freaking serious. And that's why you're miserable, that's why you're unhappy, because you want everybody else to fall in line, but you don't have any sort of routine, structure, discipline. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's so funny whenever I meet other people intimately, and when I say intimately, I don't mean sexually, shut up, but like, whenever I meet other people intimately, and they kind of like sun me, because it's like, bitch, do you know what I do in a day? Like, you know what I mean? Not to toot my horn, but it's like, if you knew, I think you'd be bowing down to me. Maybe not. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you truly understood or knew, like, and that's once again the fucking thing. A lot of men, like, when they meet people, they don't try to understand people. They just try to dominate. They just try to, like, have some sort of dominance. And it's crazy. Because it's like, just get to know the person. Just understand. Just ask them fucking questions. Why do you have to fucking feel like you're winning at something? You know what I mean? That's not what the fuck a conversation is for. A conversation is for exchanging information, for understanding each other better, for coming to a mutual understanding. Like, not these power plays. Once again, this is the biggest reason why most of y'all are fucking lonely, why y'all feel like y'all don't have friends, why y'all don't have the love that you want, because you're fucking shallow. You don't care about anyone but yourself. And even in that regard, you barely care about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that even work? You know, like, how does that work? It doesn't work. And I think it is so tragic for me. I was thinking about this on live stream the other day. I think everything does happen for a reason. I think there is a big reason why I am attracted to men. Because I think about that sometimes, and I hate that I'm attracted to men. Men are so, like, as a man who has taken the time to develop himself, men are so fucking stupid. But they don't want to believe that they're stupid, so then they, like, do such violent things to, like, maintain the idea that they're not stupid. But it's like, that's stupid. And, like, I think it's unfortunate also that we live in a world where, like, a lot of men are low-key gay, like, biologically, intrinsically, but they don't allow themselves to explore that. And so then we have so many violent homophobic people because, like, nobody wants to be honest with themselves. Nobody wants to, like, you know what I mean? Got people cheating on their wives and shit with other men and, like, just being so nasty and diabolical. And it's like, you could just be true to yourself. Like, why? Like, most men are attracted to other men. Like, when you think about the way that they socialize and stuff, they're attracted to other men. They don't care about women. They don't have any empathy for women. They just want to feel included with other men. You know what I mean? I feel like there is an inherent narcissism that comes with being a male, that if you don't break out of it, if you don't reprogram it, it will run your life. You know what I mean? Like, I recognize the narcissistic tendencies within me, but I've always been against, you know what I mean? I've always been more leaning towards my empathy. You know what I mean? So, but a lot of men are taught, you know, because with the provider thing, we could talk about how, like, some men are taught to be providers, to be caretakers or caregivers, but there's still a selfish notion there, because it's not necessarily about the other person. It's about you proving your manhood. And I do believe that intentions can make or break a situation. Like, if you go into a risky situation with the intention of helping others, I think that's a very different energy than going into a risky situation with the intention of just helping yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it's two very different energies, and they usually have very different outcomes. Now, of course, there are factors that you and I cannot control, like other people's opinions, other people's behaviors, etc., etc. But, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing that a lot of men, I feel like, miss when we have these sorts of conversations of, like, you're doing all this, you're providing, you're being a man, but what are the reasons? What are the intentions? And that's the part where people don't want to be honest with themselves. It's like, what is the intention? That's the important part. You need to be honest about your intentions, at least with yourself. You know what I mean? Because if you're not, it creates a mismatch energy. You know, you're saying that you're doing this to be helpful, But secretly, even secretly to yourself, you're doing it because you want to be known, you want to be loved, you want to be recognized, you know, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if that's your intention, be honest with yourself about that. Like, I just want to be loved, I just want to be seen, I just want to be appreciated, you know, and that's fucking okay. It's not because you want to help this person, it's because you want to feed your own ego, you know, because, and there's nuance to everything, but somebody who genuinely wants to help other people is not going to get upset when somebody does not receive their help, because they understand that, like, in order to be helped, you have to also help yourself, you know what I mean? And so if somebody's not willing to receive your help, that's because they're in a much worse position than you can even fathom, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know, like I said before, we gotta, like, stop personalizing, stop internalizing other people's behaviors, because people are going to do what they do for whatever reasons that they do it, or vice versa. People are not going to do people are going to do inaction. People are going to not do what they don't do for whatever, you know what I'm saying? And of course, it is easier said than done. It's so easy to say, don't take it personal. It is something that you have to practice. Sorry about the wind. But once you get there, like, shit just slides off the bat, because it's like, why the fuck should I care? I don't, like, you're stupid. I'm not gonna be sucked into your stupidity just because, you know what I mean? Like, no. Like, and this doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be annoyed or frustrated or whatever at somebody else's behaviors, but not making it about you is important. Not taking their behavior and being like, oh, this is happening because I'm acting this way, and so I should adjust my behavior. No. Especially if you're the type of person who is a people pleaser. You know, like, I was going to go into talking about my boyfriend, but I'm going to refrain from doing that, so, yeah. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. I hope you know miracles happen all the time. Whatever you're going through is temporary. And I hope you know that God loves you and wants the best for you, but you also gotta want the best for yourself. So, I don't know, keep your head up, keep your spirits high, and see you when I see you. Bye.